Hey y'all, what's up? It's Kronda. It's been a minute since I went live on my own. My guest today, Anna Empey, is running late or maybe got indisposed. So we're gonna roll with it, and it's so we're gonna chat because I always have stuff to say, and I do want to talk about marketing specifically that I see going on in the space, with our clients, with people who are in my sphere. So let's get into it. And if you're joining live, please do take this opportunity, this golden opportunity to ask questions. If you're having trouble with your marketing, curious about things, if you're wondering, what you should do next I'm totally open. So definitely feel free to ask questions as we kind of will rock and roll with her. About something that I feel like I and some of my marketer friends in our space are having this conversation a lot. I want to talk. Really just had a conversation with a client who has a lot to be working on, and there's a website, there's lead magnet, thing, and there's all these things. And what I really had to talk her down from was like focusing on things that aren't going to get her to the money. And this is something I see a lot where people are literally tell us, well, I can't work with you yet because I'm working with this Facebook ads person. They don't have a system on the back end to nurture but they first thing to do is get leads. Because that's what we see everybody out here doing is like, oh, get leads, run Facebook ads, do this, be visible. But I promise you, if you don't have a plan on the back end for how to actually turn those leads into where you be spending your time and energy. Letter my thought and then my letter in. So the order of operations is you sell. So if you have an unvalidated product or offer, or you're just bad at selling, like handle that first. Without sales, there's literally not. There's no right. So handle your sales first. And once you know that you can sell the thing, then you want to worry about getting more people to sell to. That's marketing, right? Marketing is getting visible, getting attention, and getting people to raise their hands that they might be qualified for thing, right? That's the second thing. And then once are working, you know that you can get leads, you know that you can sell to the leads. Then if you want to pour gasoline on that fire, you want to move faster, that's when you can introduce ads into the space. Ads are going to amplify what you're doing. So if you're doing a bunch of stuff that doesn't work, ads are going to amplify that and you're going to burn a bunch of money. But if you have a system that's working, then ads are going to amplify that and you're going to be able to sell more. All right. So with that, I'm going to bring Anna in. What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. It's just spitballing here while we wait. Um, so it's been a while since we chatted, but I know you had a lot going on. Go ahead and take a minute, take a breath, and just introduce yourself to people and tell them like who you are and what you do and who you do it for and all that good jazz.
Yeah, totally. So my name is Anna, and I've been in the marketing world pretty much my whole career. It was kind of like an accident, right? When I was a kid at farmers market selling my family's fruit, this person was like, "Anna, you should go into public relations." And I was like, whatever. And then I got to college and I was like, "Oh, maybe I should study that." And that's not how it ended up going. I ended up studying marketing as my minor and anthropology as my major, and that was like, I graduated, I think it was like 12, 13 years ago, but it influenced where I am now in a big way. I started working for all these small businesses and wearing all these hats as their marketing person. But what I found myself doing is building out CRMs and helping do events and do fundraising and do manage Facebook communities. And so just doing all the things that a small business needs to help them grow and scale and leverage up. And uh, have loved that. And then about 4 years ago, I decided to start my own thing. I had some things happen in my career where I didn't get paid for about 3 months of work. And I was like, man, like I got to be able to feed myself. What am I going to do? And I turned to my wife, Katlin, and she says, Anna, we should just start you should just start this thing. You do this on the side for people. You're really good at this. Let's just do it. So that was like how I started my business, kind of out of necessity. And over the last 4 years, I've really been working with and connecting with small business owners, particularly if you've got services or unique products, particularly if you got like a big passion to make the world a better place or to help other people and serve people. Even if you're selling a product, if that's what's back behind you, those are the people that I work with. Um, I also strangely have a niche where I feel like about 30% of my clients are actually coaches or other people serving and bringing differences to other people. So really just if you've got that core of like, I got a mission and I'm going to make a difference. Yeah, I'm here to help you do that. And that's why I offer such a wide variety of services, really, because like I want to try and meet you where you are, right? So yeah, that's a little bit about me, and it's a little bit longer of a nutshell, but hopefully it's cool.
I love it. I love it. And why are you doing a live with your competition? And I really don't see, like, we have such a good time nerding out, and I really don't even see it as competition because I help people that we're not equipped to help. Things that I wanted to talk about is kind of our different approach how clients. So
Oh,
also
there's
sort
a
of like
little
everything and the kitchen sink, like, huh?
Sorry, there's a
Yeah.
little bit of a delay on my side, just so you know, but
Yeah, my internet's not the best today, but we're gonna roll with it.
it's perfect.
So tell approach to how you help clients because you do have kind of a broad range of like, yeah, I'm gonna meet you where you at and kind of take you on this journey. So talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, and I do want to speak, right? Like I also don't see you as like my competition, right? Like when we have people who are skilled in the same arena, the people at the top are actually the people who are collaborating. So I see this as more like, yeah, let's collaborate and see how I can help more people, right? Because you got skills I don't have, I've got skills you don't have, and that's like a celebration of all of it. So that's like the first place I want to come from. The second place is like I really do have I've got built out lots of processes and systems for marketing, even for building a business plan that incorporates things from public relations and business planning and anthropology and doing research. So really that's a lot of the places I start with people is looking like, yeah, what is the foundation? Like where do you want to be in those 10 years? And I'm really going to look at like what do you actually define as success for you? And if you're not sure about what that is, I'm going to sit down with you and help you get clear like what is that? What does this look like in reality? So we can get clear what are the steps to go from where you are right now to where you want to be in 5 years so that the energy you're taking is not all over the place. It's actually the short term actions you take right now that get you to where you actually want to be. And then you're not going to look back and be like, man, I regret every second of what I did for the last 5 years. Instead, you're going to get where you want to be about 10 times faster, right?
Yeah. And you have such a broad range is I'm hearing that you are a planner. Like you're someone who wants to be intentional about what it is that you're doing. And I'm sure you've probably encountered this because I have as well. What do you say to people who are like, their hair is on fire and they're like, I just have to do all the marketing things like right now? Like, what's your reaction to that?
Yeah, typically ask them for what reason? Like what's the purpose? And if they're not clear, if they're like, "Oh, just because I have to," that actually is like first sign that I know you need someone's services and help to like sit down, slow down a little bit and really get intentional because intentional action is going to produce 10 times a better result. And there's tons of people that I meet that are like really stressed, and I'm sure you meet them too. They're like, oh my gosh, like I just don't know what I need to do to grow, but I have to grow. And if I don't grow, then I'm going to fail. And that just tells me, like, okay, clearly we got to work on the mindset. And when people aren't ready for that, I just kind of hold the space and try and love them. Because when someone's not ready, you can't force them to drink the water. But when someone is really ready, great, I'm all in. Let's go get this sorted. let's make a difference. Let's sort out like what do you see is the biggest if your hair's on actual fire, great. What do we have to do to put it out? Let's do that thing right away, first thing. Because if you can get that done, then you can actually get present. You can get back to being intentional, and you don't have to live in the fire of whatever's going on long term, which isn't good for anyone, to be clear, right?
Yeah. And I think we've all been there too. And I would say, for us, we're kind of, it's a microcosm of what you do, because you can basically take someone and say, as you're willing to engage in the process, right? You can meet them where they're at and take them through. Whereas we've bounced around between, web development and coaching and, doing all these things. And then where we landed as of right now is we're going to hone in on this really specific thing, which is your email marketing automation. Like that's kind of the wedge, the in that we're taking right now. Because what I saw last year when I started to look around at, what my colleagues and what people in my sphere were doing, is they were using Active Campaign, which is the tool that we implement in. But they were using it on a really, really basic level. Like they weren't using the power of the automations of the CRM that's available, a DSL, like a huge millimeter lens, and you just used it to take pictures of your cat in your living room. Like it's just all this waste. And Active Campaign raised their pricing in January to be more on the level with the tools that they kind of match, which is things like HubSpot, Entreport, Keep. Like they started out as like the underdog, and now they're really on a level with those other tools. And so now they're priced accordingly. And so now I think the way they did it, not great, right? But the fact that now people are going to think really hard about, what am I doing to actually get the ROI from this tool? Right. And that's where we can come in. And our planning process centers around, okay, you've got these 3 areas of automation that we're going to engage with, which is marketing, sales automation, and onboarding. And which of those is the fire that you need to put out? Right. That's what we're going to do first. But we're going to be really intentional, and we're going to plan out that journey, and then we're going to map it out and show it to the client, and then we're going to build it. So I love it. It's like you're, at 30-foot level, like, okay, let's see where we want to start and zoom in. And we're like, when you get to this place with this tool, come see us.
Right. And I think it's like there's a time and a place for everything, particularly in business, right? And one of the things we kind of talked about when we first met was like, what's the cost to you to not have a system that actually works for you, right? Like, some people are like, well, that costs so much to invest in this thing, but what is it actually costing you to not have something that actually works the way you need it to, that's aligned with your
Mhm.
goals, or empowers your sales team and your fulfillment team, like the people who are actually doing the work? Weird. We need to empower them too, and your marketing, right? Because when those things aren't connected, there's a way higher cost to you than investing in putting those systems in place. Whether that you're starting your business, or if you've been in business for 5 years. But if you're ready to really have something that's successful long term that can do work for you, I say that like not like AI, but like you can build a system that will bring you leads literally in your sleep if you've got great organic marketing strategies paired with the kind of systems that you build, Kronda. Like amazing things happen for small businesses when you also have the ability to say, "Oh, actually, I don't have to control this all. I can actually build something that works better than what I could do if I was doing it all myself."
Yeah. Yeah. So, before you got here, I was riffing on just some things that have been seeing like our clients do, right? Which is talking about like order of operations, like, before they have a system in place, before sell leads, things like that. What are some of the that you're working with, or in the leads that you're talking to? What are some of the common, what are some of the symptoms that would happen for people to know and recognize themselves, like, oh, this is me. Maybe I better stop doing this.
Yeah, I think one symptom that I really see with some people is they have like this fear of trusting their team. Um, they're like, "Oh, I've got a team, but they just don't do it as good as me." Like I've had a couple people say that, right? Like, or even the conversation like, "Well, people just don't want to work anymore," and I'm like, "Well, actually, we need to support them in getting clarity in what you expect and need and want them to do, right?" And how I was taught operational procedures was give them like kind of generic. And over time in my career, and as I have worked with other companies, like no, actually, you want to make that more specific. Um, and that is going to be a big symptom, right? That's something that you face. And if you can't even trust your people to do their job to fulfill on what you're selling or what you're marketing, you're not going to want to go sell. You're not going to want to invest money in marketing because you don't have the confidence that you guys can actually deliver as a business. But it's all connected. But lots of times, marketing is the thing that gets blamed when really there's deeper things at play. Some other things I see that are symptoms of that problem that I see is just people really struggle to understand who you are or what you do or your value. Uh, that I see that as all
Messaging.
as an
Yeah.
internal thing, right? That's all something that's happening on the inside that you need to look at to make sure you're clear on it. Because if you're not clear, no one else ever can be either.
Yeah. So I was talking to a client and I'm about the different offers, and there's all these different offers with all these different names that are kind of the same, and I was like, wait, so this one does this and this one does, and then I realized, like, if we on the team, or their contractors, aren't clear on, like, this is what this offer is and this, then used minds don't buy. And the other thing that brings up for me is, a lot of times I think people, I think, okay, I'm hiring you to do this thing, and you're just going to come in and you're going to, like, take the thing. And I love what you said about everything being interconnected, because yeah, we can build an automation, but I always say, if you automate crap, then you just get automated crap. So if you have a system and that system is working, say, great, this is working, and we can have the robots take over, 70% of this process, and it's going to be more efficient, right? Versus having a client who doesn't have a process and is just, like, making it up as they go, or building it on the, well, you can't really be sure what your results are going to be, because that's an unproven process. And so this is, I guess, for everybody who's thinking about hiring, like, don't silo them. We need to, the people who really care in and your business want to know, like, what else is going on that might, that information from us, then we're not going to be able to you results. So that was one thing that I think really stood out for me, is, like, people, they don't want to talk about, like, their offer or their, and their problems. It's like, you put a match message into an automated email sequence, it's not going to perform.
Absolutely, right?
Like,
Like
but we can't do everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think sometimes when people talk about automation, they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is a magic pill. Let's just put the time there and build it." But like you were saying, like if you don't have a process that you know actually works, that you actually like, that actually works the way that you want it to, and sets the expectations for people through the process, at least like client facing automation, then it's not actually going to produce the result that you want. Um, and sometimes that's like the biggest challenge that I come across when I start to build automation for people is they're like, well, just make it work. Just make it do the thing that I want it to do. I'm like, well, do you even know what you want it to do? Well, just have it do the thing. So really taking that time to outline it out and like think about the steps. What do we want people to experience through the sequencing, and what do we want people to leave feeling, and how do we want to feel connected with them? um, that's how you help people, and you can use automation to help you, but I don't believe automation can ever replace a person. Now we're going to go get into AI really quick. I feel like we're going to go down that route.
Let's not. Let's just skirt skirt that
Let's
whole.
skirt it. Okay, cool, but it's connected, right? Like people
It
have to
is,
help,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Well, and what I love about what you just said is, I think people under and thinking and content that is actually a system like the things that we build. And that one of the number one things that in progress in a project is waiting for content. Even though we help them, we review their stuff, and content to come from you or someone in your company, or maybe you have a copywriter, like, it has to come from someone. And I think there's more of it that's needed than people realize. Cause it's like process. That means you have to have, the reminder to book your call. Like maybe you need 2 or 3 reminders for people to book that call. The confirmation, then you need the what to expect on the call. Like these were that were like, oh, we're gonna need this and this and this. And they're like, whoa. So if you're watching this and you're thinking like, oh yeah, automated system, that sounds great. Well, it is great, but like your part to actually think through, like you said, Anna, what is the experience to for people? And I think, people think of automation as impersonal. I mean, I hope we're getting past that, right? I hope we are, but automation as impersonal, and it's only as impersonal as your ability to create content, right? If you can create content that really connects with people, it can be as quirky or as wild or as fun or as gay, whatever you are, right? But we're just using the tools, we're using the software to deliver that message at a particular time.
Yeah, and I think that's where it's like it is important to like know your audience. Like, what do people expect in the communication? Like the golden rule is say and like do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. I've been learning about what the platinum rule is, and I'm gonna shout out to my friend Laura Flores here who taught me the platinum rule, and that is communicate and treat them how they would like to be treated. And if we can like level up the way that we approach building systems and processes and communication and automation, then that's what creates highly converting automation sequences. That's what creates highly converting processes. If you think like the way you approach a sales conversation, there's a system and a process. If you think about the way that you do social media content, there's a system and a process. If you think about the way that you schedule a call, absolutely a system and a process. And so there's like all sorts of ways you can use automation in your business that maybe it's not the conventional way or ever someone's ever taught you to do it that way. But if you think about, yeah, how do I want to treat my customers and how do I want to help them experience the best support possible through all the areas of your business? Wow, you've got so many opportunities to use that automation as leverage, not to replace you, but to help you help them and serve them.
Oops, lost your video. There we go. You're back. So we've got a few minutes left. Out sessions. So of course we have to talk about tools. So 2 things I want to talk about. I want to nerd out on tools a little bit. And then I want to end with like, what is the thing that, if you're a small business owner and marketing right now, marketing used to be this thing you could just say like, I'm a marketer. And now it's like, well, what kind of market? Are you a digital marketer? Are you a automation specialist? Like, do you make the websites? Do you do, like there's all these things. And I think it's very overwhelming for the average small business owner to figure out like, what the heck should I be doing to actually grow my business, right? And actually leverage myself. So 2 things, some of your favorite tools that you're using like on the daily that you just can't live without in your business or that you're using for clients. And then we'll talk about like if you're a small business focusing. So I'm going to get your favorites that you're just like, you can prime from your cold dead hands.
Yeah, I mean, this is gonna silly that I say this, but Google Calendar, right? Like, if it's in my calendar, I will be there, right? Like, it took me a long time to move from like a pen and paper calendar to Google Calendar, but Google Calendar means that I get to have a personal life, a business life. I get to show up, and I also get to schedule my self care in there because if it's in my
Mhm.
calendar, it's what I got to do. So it just helps me be my best person for myself, and also all my clients, right? Like I schedule Google Calendar appointments with them. It's there. They know if that's in the calendar, I'm gonna be there for that meeting. If it's not in the calendar, we need to schedule something, because I set the expectation with that tool, right? Another tool that I absolutely just love is I love WordPress, just because of the way that we build websites. It's not like a conventional brochure website. It is actually something that educates people through the process, and we create websites that make a difference, that rank on Google, that help increase the know, like, and trust factor. So I'm always in there supporting people and building things, and also teaching people how to build things themselves so that they can be more empowered to communicate and share who they are in a space that they own, right? Like they own that space. That website belongs to them. It's not, if Facebook it shuts down, their whole business goes away. No, they actually have that as part of a hub of their success. So to me, like I'm just, I love those. There's simple tools that have been around for a long time, but the application is so important.
Yeah, I would echo both of those things. To be a WordPress developer, and we've made a lot of websites in our time and still love it, and still am super passionate about that ownership piece, because I've had clients and have clients who, they're on Squarespace or they're on these other tools where they're just from what they are able to do, either because of the limitations of the tool or the limitations of the terms of service of what you're legally allowed to do. So I just really love to see people, when you get to a certain level, have that WordPress site that you own, that's yours, that you can do what you want with. So love those. Um, I'm gonna say, Active Campaign. And of course, we love using Active Campaign. But I'm gonna say, my top tool right now is Airtable. Airtable is a relational database, and we actually have a tool that we call the pot of gold content marketing database. And in 2020, when I was just drowning and I was just struggling to make paragraphs on Instagram and hating it, I just really, really wanted to outsource that my business and just not deal with it anymore. But I wanted it still to be in my voice, right? I wanted to make sure that, like, whatever is going to go out on my social media is stuff that I've actually said and written and done. And so for a while, and I took this, what at the time, like 8 years of content, and I hired somebody to do our social media. And I said, here's a bunch of content. Here's a theme for the month. Here's what we're selling. Have fun. Like, that's literally what I did. And she was able to run with that. I literally went from spending hours and hours like fighting with Instagram to just spending 15 minutes a week just approving. So we had this whole thing where there was, and say, like, these are the things I want to post. I could do a quick edit, approve it, done. And after a few weeks, I was like, I don't need to look at this anymore. Like, you've got this. And so that tool literally changed my business. I went from just me to that one person to another person helping with automation to having, by the end of the year, a team of 7 people over the last 7 months. And so I'm super passionate about Airtable because of the way that it lets you organize information and data, and the way that it lets you take that information and then see it in so many different ways. And now they have interfaces, so you can make dashboards and like all the things. I want to put up if you're interested in the pot of gold, put this banner up here. You can go to this URL and you can check it out. At the time of this recording, it's only $49 for a tool that literally changed our business life. So yeah, and we use and organize everything about our clients' email marketing, everything about our email marketing. So cannot. Um, if I had to pick one other tool that I think saves my sanity, I would have to say 1Password. It's at this point, at least 50 times a day. I mean, I probably have, 20 different client Zapier logins, and there's no way I would survive without password management. To be able to do that securely. Tweeted back and said, when is little one Kronda due? So yeah. Okay, so if you want to nerd out on come over and get on my email list. I have lots of tools we use. I have lots of podcast episodes about the tools we use. Okay, I want to wrap this up by the business owner who's watching this and are trying to figure out what step they should take in their marketing. What do you think are kind of the foundation?
Yeah, I think for me, I would look at, yeah, I'd like really look at, yeah, where do you want to be in 5 years, right? Because if you're in like the swimming of where am I, I'm just doing this to do this. The only way to get out of that is to get clear where you want to go, right? And there's this tool that I use that's called bridge planning. Well, I call it bridge planning. It combines a bunch of other people's tools that I've learned through professional development, but it's where you actually like put yourself in the future. Like it's that day. So let's say like 5 years from now, it would be June 28th, and it's 2023. So it'd be June 28th, 2028. And I like pretend like I'm in that day, like a little kid. And then I kind of look back like I'm on a podcast. Ironically, I'm on a podcast right now. And then I pretend to talk about what happened in the past for me to get to that goal. So I get really clear, what is that goal? And what do I want to do? And then I look back and talk about it like I've already achieved that thing. And then I've suddenly got clarity on the direction that I want to go. And I can do that with marketing. I can do that with, like I figure out this big problem and the solution was X. You'd be surprised what kind of answers you will find and discover inside that process. But having that clarity for yourself is what's going to help you be able to get where you want to be faster. Um, and as far as marketing actions go, I would say if you feel like you're all over the place, like let's get clear. Less is more when you feel all over the place. Like, what's that one area that's actually influencing your bottom line? And if you don't know that, then let's get a tracking system in place so you can start to see where are the people coming from so I can focus my actions on the area where I'm getting the most return on investment. A lot of people don't put those things in place and they just kind of go. But there comes a
Mm-hmm.
point for any business owner where you can't shoot out of your hip anymore because it's too much for you to do by yourself or even for your team to do. So taking the time to look and see will really make the difference for you to be like, okay, that's the thing that I want to put more energy towards, or these are the three things I want to put more energy towards.
I love it. And I hope those of you who are listening and watching are just the gem that you put down, which is like if you go over, literally look at the date and if you talk yourself through, like, how do you want to have happened? How did you get there? I think that's such a powerful tool. It brings in imagination. It out of aspiration that you might be feeling right now of being over like that. And then the other thing I heard was actually knowing where your clients are coming from and starting and have we're so big on documenting everything. We're so big on data move you track it because those are the things that are going to this is what's happening. We're gonna go with facts, not we make decisions. And to do that, you actually have to have the facts. And in marketing, to have not just going to send this naked link out on my social media. If somebody opts into my website, it's going to tell me where that from Facebook, from TikTok. Like those are the kind of things to set up for our clients so that we make sure you're tracking your leads as they come in so you'll have that data in the future. Red because the client had an opt-in couldn't in fields that would capture the lead source. That's a hard pass. We got to find some other solution to get people in them so that so I love this. And then on our side, I would say, this is my, pulpit that beyond till the end is like we just want everybody to have a basic welcome sequence, a strategic sequence, so that when leads actually subscribe to your list, that they know what to expect. Get your help. So that basic welcome sequence, extra mile, at least one sales sequence. That's what we would love to see. Us. Anna, what is your website so I can throw that up here right quick?
Yeah, it's actually businessinspiredsolutions.co.
Inspired solutions. Spelling on the fly, people.
It's perfect.
All right.
I always put the A instead of the S, so it's perfect.
Cool. So that's how you can go get a hold of Anna and all the different things that she can help you do in your business. Of course, you can find us at carveldigital.com, and you can join our email community there. And so if you're watching this, if you're still questions and comments, we would love to keep this conversation going. And Anna, thank you so much. It was so great to meet you and so great to continue our conversation. And I'm sure we'll do this again.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me and for all you do. Like meeting other professionals in my industry helps me see like, hey, there's so many ways you can approach it. So just thank you for being someone who's got high integrity in this industry and really cares about the people that you serve. It makes a huge difference for me to know that there's other people that are like that out there. And whew, you're restoring faith in humanity for me.
Thanks. Same to you. All right. Thanks, y'all. Bye.